Hey, what's up? Pat Flynn here. Thank you so much for joining me here. We are live on Monday, April 17th. And if you happen to be watching live, thank you so much. Let me know while you're here if you are live, if you already have a YouTube channel that's been up and running, or if you are about to start a new one. Let me know because we have a lot to go over today, including how to get your channel set up and the way to approach it, all the way through monetization. And I want to help you out. In fact, this is a presentation that we did about a month and a half ago, and we're doing it again. It's an encore presentation. Why? Because it was so successful. People have already gotten results from it, and I want you to get results from it too. So let's dive right in. A lot of you know that I've started a new YouTube channel fairly recently that's done very, very well. So a lot of what I'm sharing is, in fact, coming from recent experience and what has been working and lessons learned because I'm not new to YouTube. I've been on YouTube for quite a while. Only recently have I really been diving into it, discovering what is working and wanting to pass on that to you. Now, this particular channel has currently 607,000 subscribers and 141 million views only after 2 years, which is pretty amazing. Also, if you see me popping in and out of the bottom here like this, don't worry, I am not trying to scare you. I just want to be here and kind of show up for you. Now, there's a lot of new YouTube channels that have been doing really well. In fact, one of my more recent favorite ones is this one, which came about during the pandemic. It's called Dad, How Do I? I love this one because it's, I'm a dad and I don't know how to do everything around the house. And this is where I go to get a lot of information on everything from plumbing to you name it. And this has 4 million subscribers since April of 2020, which is pretty cool. Very, very nice to know that these new channels are still doing very well, which means there's hope for all of us. There's this channel, which has actually been around for quite a while. You might not recognize this or even know about it, but you might recognize the lobster that is shared in some of those thumbnails. In fact, this channel now has over 500,000 subscribers and 41 million views, but it wasn't always that way. Back in early, 2020, this channel was seeing very little views. And then all of a sudden, something happened in December of 2021, January of 2022, and we'll talk about exactly what that was and what we can learn from it. And then my personal channel, which I actually started in 2009, is just finally crossing over 400,000 subscribers and 27 million views. And there's a lot of mistakes that I've made on this channel, but I wanted to take you back in time, as we often do here on the channel, and take you back to my very first video that I published on this channel in 2009. I'm going to play the first 20 seconds of it for you to show you that we all start from somewhere.
Hey everybody, this is Pat Flynn from the Smart Passive Income blog at smartpassiveincome.com, and I'm trying something out a little new today. This is actually my first video that I'll be putting on YouTube and on my blog. And I'm using some really cool tools that allow me to do some really cool things.
Yeah, so that's the first 20 seconds, which felt like 5 minutes because of just, I didn't know what I was doing. And a lot of us, when we're starting out, we don't know what we're doing. And this is why it's important to know that there are other people who have already made the mistakes, like me, who can pass on information to you so that you're not making those same mistakes as well. Now, that being said, this video still got nearly 10,000 views, but over the course of 12 years. And again, I want you to fast forward your success and have it happen much faster than when I went through it. So here's what we're going to learn today. First, we're going to talk about your channel. The very first thing that you should do before you even start filming is something that's really important, and this way you aren't headed in the wrong direction. Number 2, the best way to know how to make a channel that's worth subscribing to, and number 3, how YouTube's algorithm really works. This is really important because it influences how you film your videos and how you actually publish them. Your videos specifically, we're going to talk about the click and stick strategy. This is an easy way to break down exactly how to film and create your videos to take advantage of the algorithm and get in front of a lot more people, how to generate title and thumbnail ideas that actually get more clicks, how to hook your viewers and keep them watching all the way through your videos. This, again, plays well into the algorithm and what it's looking for. And the most important piece of data that you can use to benefit your own self as you are growing your channel. There's a lot of benefit to YouTube specifically in the world of analytics. It's often overwhelming, the amount of analytics that YouTube can offer you to help you. And then it almost kind of works in the opposite direction because there's just so much to learn. I'm just going to show you only what you need to know to grow and learn because I want you to start off simple, right? And then monetization, we'll talk about how to do that. Welcome, everyone. We have nearly 300 people watching. Also, just thank you. Again, it is a Monday and you're learning about YouTube. I think that speaks so highly to kind of the opportunity that we all know exists here on this platform. But before we get into that, I do want to share that a lot of what you are learning here today is a glimpse into what we teach in our course, YouTube from Scratch. This was one that was created about 1.5 years ago that has helped thousands of people with their YouTube channels, and we'll have a special thing for you about that later. But even if you don't take advantage of that, you're going to learn a lot that you'll be able to move forward with. The first thing I want you to know is that there's a lot of myths around what it takes to succeed on YouTube. And the number one myth that often is the case is you need a fancy camera, you need fancy microphones, you need fancy equipment in order to succeed. And the truth is, that's not the truth, right? Here is the truth. Better stories is greater than or better than better camera equipment, okay? Better stories are better than better camera equipment. And as we see here from a comment in 1 hour ago on my channel, teach me how to tell a story, Pat. If you know how to tell a good story, you will be that much further ahead, that much more of an advantage will come your way on YouTube. Now let's take Leon the Lobster on Brady's channel, Brady Brandwood, right? He's filming with an iPhone. You see it back there. Nothing fancy. The camera's kind of blurry and the sound isn't all that great, and there's Leon the Lobster right there. But what really makes this video do well is the story. The fact that Brady went to the grocery store, saw a lobster in the sort of tank that you could purchase to boil and cook at home, and he decided to take it home and instead raise it as a pet. What an incredible story. That is a clickable story. That is one that we want to see and figure out how that works. And is that even possible? And you'll see now 1.5 years later, people are now super fans of Leon the Lobster. There is actually Leon the Lobster merch, in fact. So no, you don't need fancy camera equipment. Better storytelling is better. Next, the myth that you need huge, elaborate spectacle, right? And there will be questions and answers at the end for sure. I see a good one from House Painting Lessons here that I do want to get to at the end. But you need huge, elaborate spectacle. No, you don't. Although this is a trend now that we're seeing from a lot of large YouTubers like Mr. Beast and Ryan Trahan, and there's even a channel called How Ridiculous where they literally do really ridiculous things. But let's take Brady again with Leon. I mean, all of these videos that show the story of Leon, look at the number of views they have compared to the other videos, right? And it's nothing fancy. It's nothing elaborate that's going to cost millions of dollars. It's simply a story that people are curious about, right? Take Michelle Kerr. I love her channel because she puts herself in situations where she's learning from somebody. She will try the SWAT Academy. She learned Hollywood motion capture. She tried Navy SEAL fitness test. She tried etiquette school, all these things that we're curious about. She puts herself in that situation and shares the story of what it was like and what she picked up, and there's always lessons. Charlie, talk about riches or the niches. She is a designer that works at ConvertKit, but she does some freelance stuff on her own. She just shares her journey, how she works with clients, how she gets paid, how she makes sure she gets paid on time, all the kinds of inner workings of a freelance designer. A person who is a designer would love Charlie and love to learn from her and her experiences. And as you can see, her videos aren't getting a ton of views, but she has some super fans, and she's been able to collect hundreds of thousands of subscribers over time. Now, I've been diving into the world of fishing lately, and I've been discovering that there's a lot of fishing channels that I've been getting involved with. And what's interesting is each of these fishing channels that are doing really well, each have their own sort of position or stake inside of this world, right? Tactical Bassin, for example, you could see all their thumbnails. They go really, really tactical into the different lures and what works at different seasons and different conditions, all that kind of stuff. And all their videos are very specific about the lure choices and all that kind of stuff, which is important for a bass fisherman to understand. Then there's Fish the Moment, which is more for a bass boat owner. They go a lot into the fish finders, how to use the fish finders to find fish at big depths, and how to use those informations to collect even more bass onto the boat, right? There's even Greg Blanchard, which specifically is not just a bass fisherman and not just a bass kayak fisherman, but he's a bass kayak tournament fisherman. And he's got over 100,000 subscribers, people who are just like him, who want to learn his ways. I mean, he's making bank off of sponsors and affiliate marketing and deals, and it's just a channel that I can't stop watching, right? Which is pretty cool. Another myth, you need millions of subscribers to do well. I think this is a myth that I think we're starting to understand more and more now that is not true. The idea that you need millions of subscribers. You don't need a blockbuster hit or a blockbuster channel. You just need a channel that connects with people, right? So no, you don't need millions of subscribers. Imagine just trying to get 1,000 fans, right? Here's Justin Moore, somebody who was a guest on our podcast recently who teaches sponsorships. I definitely recommend following him. He says, my YouTube videos get less than 1,000 views, but I've made 400,000 plus in coaching. So don't lose sight of the bigger picture, who you are serving. So no, it's not just about the views, and it's not just about the subscribers. It's about the authority that a video can bring. It's about the connection that it can have with a person who could eventually become a subscriber and or a customer of sorts. And then myth number 4, the final one here, is that it's too late to start on YouTube. And no, it's definitely not too late to start on YouTube. For example, Matt Wolf has just created a channel recently in January, or the end of last year, all about AI, so artificial intelligence. And he does a lot of these videos, and he's getting a ton of views now. He has now over 200,000 subscribers since the channel started. And he says here, hey, Pat, thanks so much. So I reached out to him to just congratulate him on how the channel's been going because it's new. And he said, it's been a crazy ride. I gained 90,000 subscribers in a single month. I went from getting 1,000 views a month to 4 million views a month. And why do you think that is? Well, it's because of the topic and of interest to people, AI, and he's creating videos to get in front of a lot of the news and showing demonstrations on how to do that. So I want to ask you a question. Would you rather take the long road here on YouTube and have years of mistakes and frustration like I did, or would you rather have number 2? Let me know in the chat. 1 or 2. 2 being the shortcut, knowing what works, less frustration, because that's the road we're about to go down right now. So this is just a check-in with you. Give me a 2 in the chat if you're here live with me now, or if you're watching the replay, just mentally, hopefully it's a 2 and you want the shortcut. All right. So hopefully you're all in the same camp, and I want to congratulate you again for being here. All right. Over 300 people. This is great. We're going to dive right in. Note-taking should start happening soon. And of course, there's a replay that'll be sent out to you almost immediately or later today. In fact, here's the first thing I would do when starting a YouTube channel, and it would be not to start a YouTube channel, right? I think a lot of us would jump in. We're so excited, and that excitement is great. That energy is awesome. It's beneficial to have that energy and want to pour into people already and create something. But I think it's more important to understand who it is that you're creating videos for first, right? I wouldn't start a YouTube channel right away if I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I would figure out who you're creating videos for first. And as I often say, the riches are in the niches, right? I know it's counterintuitive. We feel like, and I know it's pronounced niches, but that doesn't rhyme as well. I know it's counterintuitive to sort of narrow down who it is you're serving, because then our brains go, well, then there's less people that can watch our videos. But in the competitive space on YouTube, and with the consumption behavior of people who watch videos, we want the videos that make us understand, that are relatable, that are about the thing that we're looking for and or relevant to what our life situation is. And the more niche you can be, the easier it is to stand out and feel a connection to a creator, right? So I think that's really, really important to understand. And you can branch off from there if you'd like. You can start 1 inch wide, 1 mile deep, and then go 2 inches wide, 1 mile deep, 3 inches wide, 1 mile deep. But what often happens is when you niche down and you become the go-to person, the favorite resource for that particular space, the niche within a niche, if you will, what often happens is you find that there's opportunities to go 2 miles deep, right? You stay 1 inch wide, but you go 2 miles deep, 5 miles deep, 10 miles deep. And all of a sudden, you're creating in-person masterminds and workshops. And yes, you only have a few thousand subscribers, but those subscribers are loyal to you, they're spending money with you, and they share you with other people like them, right? So there's benefit and value in staying niche, right? The riches are in the niches. Now, your channel could be about a lot of things. It could be about your interest, your expertise, your obsession, the work that you do, the talents that you have, or the particular talent, your passion for something, your struggle trying to learn something, your curiosity, your goal, or your weird. But again, the thing that you have to worry about, and the big mistake I made on YouTube right away, was I went too broad too quickly, right? So my YouTube channel that I started in 2009 about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship sounded niche enough to me, right? But the problem was I was creating videos about all things related to entrepreneurship. For example, affiliate marketing, email marketing, podcasting, YouTube videos, physical products, digital products, etc., search engine optimization. So the problem was I would create a video about, for example, podcasting. People would love it. They'd subscribe because they would want more podcasting videos. And then my next video would be about search engine optimization for your website, which in my head was like, well, that's kind of related because a person who has a podcast should have a website and they should focus on search engine optimization. But the truth is they kind of come and go. And that's the kind of person that I was attracting, the come and go viewer, right? I want the person to come and set up camp and pitch tents because they want the next video to come out right away, right? Knowing what it's gonna be. And the big lesson I learned is this: people aren't subscribing. This is a big sort of mindset shift and should help you as you're creating your videos. People aren't subscribing because of the video that you just created, right? We often feel like a subscribe is like something you earn from the video that you just created. In a sense, that's true, but the reframe is this: people subscribe because of the videos that they know they're going to get later, the videos that are coming, right? And this is why niching down can be really key. This is why creating different playlists or types of videos. For example, my Deep Pocket Monster Pokemon channel, there's a lot of collection challenges which people subscribe for, and they may enjoy some of the other ones too, but when a collection video comes out, they're definitely into it. And this is why, again, the riches are in the niches. For example, Clear Value Tax. This is a YouTube channel about tax, right? Taxes. But this channel blew up during the pandemic. Why? Because during the pandemic, we all wanted our $800 checks, right, in the mail, and nobody knew when they were coming or how to redeem them, right? Our stimulus checks. And this person who understood the tax system, who understood all the fine print and all the writing, just stepped up and actually decided to share all that information and be the one-stop shop for anybody who wanted to learn when their stimulus was coming. What was also neat about this channel was this guy. You could tell that he was just he was very relatable because his videos were very like, he was just as upset as all of us, right? If you watch his videos during the pandemic, he was like, oh, okay, fine. Okay, they just came out with another 100 pages, and I had to read the whole thing, but here's what I found out. And he was like upset with you, right, during it, which was really cool. It kind of like was very relatable at that point. I want you to be able to answer this question with your channel. People subscribe to your YouTube channel, and they understand that it's different because blank, right? Thank you, Val Cares. I appreciate you. So my YouTube channel is different because blank. Really important to understand. Now, in order to understand what's different, you kind of have to find what's already in existence. So again, before you even create a channel, or if you already have one, it's not too late to do this exercise, but follow other channels and watch the other videos in your niche. Read the comments, see what people like and dislike. I got a lot of insight in the world of Pokemon by watching and participating in a lot of other videos, live streams and pre-recorded videos, and just reading the comments and seeing what people liked or disliked, and using YouTube's engagement graph to see what parts of videos people rewatch. Now, if you have a YouTube channel, you know this already. YouTube gives you information on the retention of your videos, right? Where people drop off, where people rewatch. There's like a line that goes throughout the whole video. There is actually something available that you can use to see the engagement graph for other people's videos. Now, let me show you. This is one of Leon the Lobster's videos, and you'll see if you hover over, this isn't available for every video, but videos that have been up for a while that have had this data process, you'll see those spikes right there. Those are the most replayed parts of this video. So this gives you insight on existing videos in and around the subjects and the topics that you're talking about or will talk about on your channel and in your videos. What are people liking? Now, if you go back to this particular video with Leon the Lobster, you'll discover that a lot of these replays are the close-up moments inside of the aquarium where sometimes there's not even anybody talking. It's just music, and you can enjoy Leon the Lobster kind of up close. So this tells you something. If I'm going to start a channel about buying a grocery store quail egg and raising it as a quail, which, by the way, somebody recently did in the last month. There's a very strong correlation between Leon the Lobster and this quail egg that a person found at the grocery store and then, you know, put under an incubator and then hatched it. All close-up shots of the quail being hatched and the egg, and it's just like, those are the things that people seem to watch. So if I was going to create a channel like that, right, which does kind of feel like a Pokemon in a way, I would go really close up, and perhaps even my equipment choices would reflect that, right? I want close-up shots, that kind of thing, right? So anyway, here is a big lesson to understand about YouTube. If you help YouTube succeed, YouTube will help you succeed. One more time, if you help YouTube succeed, YouTube will help you succeed. So here's the secret. Create videos that keep people on the platform. Create videos that keep people on the platform. Ultimately, what does YouTube want? Ultimately, YouTube wants to keep people on YouTube. Why? Because the more people that stay on YouTube, the more people watch the ads, the more YouTube makes money in the end. So here's the thing. You can also make money if you help YouTube. You help YouTube by creating videos that people click and stick on, and YouTube will help you because they're going to say, oh, your video keeps people on the platform for us. So let's share your video with more people because it does the job for us, right? There's a lot of talk about the algorithm and, gaming the algorithm, or the algorithm this, the algorithm changed this. Ultimately, the algorithm wants to serve the best videos to the right people, right? And one way they measure that is through watch time. Now, I love what Mr. Beast here said. He's one of the largest YouTubers, if not the largest YouTuber. And he says, anytime in your head where you're maybe thinking about the algorithm, replace the word algorithm with audience, right? How do I create videos that the audience would love to watch? Well, that would then trigger the algorithm because that would keep people watching. So let's go now into the click and stick strategy. Pan, I'm using Ecamm Live to stream this right now. And thank you for the 350 people watching. Again, I cannot stress enough just how grateful I am that you're here on a Monday. Hopefully you're feeling the energy because I want to give the energy back that you give me. So thank you in the chat. Also, thank you to the blue names in the chat who are our moderators. We have David, we have Ashley here, Sandy might be here as well. We also have some old school income stream moderators in here like Kathy, K-Walk Comedy here. Just thank you all for holding down the fort and for being here. But yeah, we're using Ecamm Live to stream right now, which is similar to OBS. So the click and stick strategy, right? Two parts. Number one, we need people to click on these videos. And number two, we need people to stick on these videos. The click, the stick, the click, the stick. So let's talk about the click. The click is essentially coming down to the title and the thumbnail. And the truth is, if you don't get that right, and I hate to say this, but it's the way it is on YouTube, your videos might not even as well even exist if people aren't seeing it and clicking on it, right? It's so sad. It's just the way it is. You can create the best video in the world, but nobody's going to watch it unless you attract them to click on that video, right? The click is really important. That's the title and the thumbnail. Now, one secret that I want to share with you that has changed the game for me and my team is this. Start with the title. Too often, I was trained for years, if you will, to write a blog post and then come up with the title, to write an email and then come up with the title, to record a podcast episode, then come up with the title. And then I brought that into the world of video, filmed the video, tried to figure out a title. And it always felt forced or too clickbaity because it didn't necessarily relate to what I had already filmed, but I needed people to click, and then it just didn't do well because people expected one thing on the title and thumbnail, and then it led to something else. But if you start with the title, that can help influence actually how you create that video, how you start that video, because there's now an understanding of what people will see and expect when they click on that title and thumbnail. So let's go back to Leon the Lobster, right? There's a lot of, on Brady's channel, randomness here. There's a motorcycle. He talks about Indian burial grounds. He talks about raising koi. But let's look at this 18 million view video. Keeping a grocery store lobster as a pet. The thumbnail isn't even high resolution, but it does the job. Why? Because of that rubber band that's on the claws. The sort of quintessential idea of a grocery store lobster is seeing those rubber bands being almost like symbolically contained and unable to move. And the title is really what did it here, right? How could you not click on this to figure out what happened? And it's almost a thought that we probably all had at one point while walking through the grocery store, yet here he is. And of course, that in and of itself is powerful, and now that can be filmed, right? So that's the power of a title and a thumbnail, right? So let's do a little quiz here. Let's do a little quiz. I have 4 titles for a video that were titles that I had considered for a video that I did publish. And remember, this is for an entrepreneurial audience. So I want you to tell me in the chat A, B, C, or D, or you can play at home if you're watching the replay. A, this question helps me live a better life. B, the one question you need to ask yourself to succeed. C, how Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. And D, life-changing advice that I use to find success. Which of these choices do you think was the one that I chose? And I'll share with you the results of this as well. I'm just going to share the answer. There's a little bit of a delay here. The answer is C. how Tim Ferriss changed my life with literally one question. Why did this work so well? Number one, if you are targeting an entrepreneurial audience, you'll know that there are some buzzwords and or buzz names that will often get people interested in what it is that you're talking about. This inferred that Tim and I had a conversation together, which was actually true. And Tim Ferriss, just people are very curious about that. It's a name that draws attention. But also look at the thumbnail. The thumbnail is him. I found this picture online. I cropped it out. It's almost as if he's looking at me. And of course, I made this face. I probably took 5 or 6 pictures to try to get this face right, where I look disappointed. And look at the words that are in there in the middle. The words aren't the same as what is on the title, and that's not recommended. The words should offer some additional level of curiosity to get a click, right? He was right. The metrics under the views are coming in from vidIQ, which show the amount of subs and engagement for this video, views per day, etc. So don't worry about those. That's just extra stuff. But in 10 months, this video had 112,000 views because I knew that putting Tim in there and then having his face looking at me and he was right. You ask questions now. It makes you want to click to figure out what the answers are, right? Now, here's another example. Here are 3 choices for a Pokemon-related video that I created for an average Pokemon card collector. A, 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. B, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder. C, this is how I store my Pokemon cards in a binder to last longer. So which one of these do you think is better? A, B, or C? Now, I chose B, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder, right? So if I go back to the choices here, 5 tips for storing your Pokemon cards. People aren't looking for necessarily tips on storing Pokemon cards, right? I think inherently most people already know what to do, or it might be relevant or it might be something that a person could get some benefit from, but tip 1 could work and then they could leave, right? I wanted a video that would attract a lot of attention. Let's look at C. This is how I store my Pokemon cards. A little bit better, right? But for a person who doesn't know who I am, why does it matter how I store my Pokemon cards? Unless I was probably like the celebrity in the space that everyone would recognize, which wasn't true at this time and still isn't true, but a little bit more true. It doesn't matter that this is the way that I do it. But B infers that there is actually a wrong way that you might be doing. And the thumbnail that goes along with this, there's a few things we'll talk about with the thumbnail in just a minute. But the correct way to store Pokemon cards in a binder, and then the title and the text, or the thumbnail and the text there reinforces the fact that you might be doing something wrong here. So this is a head turner. If you're a collector in Pokemon, you might go, wait, what? Like, there's a wrong way to do it? Am I doing it the wrong way? I don't want to do it the wrong way. Makes you want to click, right? So specific, unique, simple, the correct way to store Pokemon cards in the binder. You'll see that the thumbnail includes a card that is very recognizable. This is very similar to the Tim Ferriss thumbnail earlier, right? Recognizable face, recognizable card. One that is even blown up to be bigger than the almost binder behind it, but very clear and can be seen in a small space. Now, the cool thing about this as well is when you start with the title, it can actually influence how you film the video a little bit differently, right? So here's an original thought. All ideas for videos come from a seed idea, right? How to package and ship your cards. This was the original idea because I knew that people needed help with this. But if I just titled the video, How to Package and Ship Your Cards Without Damage, that's only so interesting. What if a person already knew how to ship their cards or already had an idea that they knew how to do it to begin with? What if a person isn't even shipping cards? Would there still be a way to attract those people to understand this information? Well, we played around with some ideas, and here is what we ended up with. Which shipping service damages my Pokemon cards the most? I still teach how to package and ship cards in this video, but because it's now wrapped with a question and a story that's told, where the beginning of the video starts with me with 3 identical packages with 3 identical contents inside those packages, one being sent to USPS, one being sent to UPS, and one being sent through FedEx, all going to the same spot. And just for fun, I added, like, that video was crafted completely differently as a result of this. In fact, it also inspired the idea to put air tags in each of those videos so we can track them. That wasn't even going to be a thing, but it became a thing that became very interesting to watch. And that video now has, nearly 500,000 views in about a year at this point. And again, because the title changed, it influenced how it was filmed, and it just became that much more interesting to film, right? So, and as a result of that, it became that much more interesting to watch. So take a seed idea. This is how I would recommend doing it. If you have a bunch of ideas, take a seed idea, brainstorm 5 clickable titles for it. Now, this is where a lot of people go, Pat, but I don't want to clickbait. You have to a little bit. You have to. You're not clickbait and switching, though. That's where I think a lot of people get clickbait wrong. You have to bait a little bit in order to get a view to best serve that person, right? If you just have an average thumbnail, you're not helping anybody. You have to do a little bit of exaggeration or a little bit of curiosity or a little bit of hyperbole or whatever. You want to call, I think there was a guy who has a channel called Veritasium who went deep into the world of clickbaiting and said, you know what? You kind of have to do it a little bit. I'm going to call it legit bait. It's legit bait so that you can actually legit help somebody or legit get them to enjoy that story that you're telling. Clickbait in the traditional sense, which is what we're all afraid of, is I'm going to put this thing that, like the classic examples is like, click this and win $1,000, and then the video has nothing to do with any of that, right? Obviously, clickbait for the wrong reasons. You can clickbait for the right reasons, right? So just keep that in mind. So take a seed idea, brainstorm 5 clickable titles for it, pick the most interesting one, and if you can't get a good title, if you can't get something that is that fires you up or you think would be click worthy, then move on to the next video or the next idea, right? It is important to also do some research and look at other videos that seem to be doing well in your space. Don't copy them, make them your own, but you can also find a lot of inspiration from videos outside of your space for clickable thumbnails as well. You'll know if they're working if the video has a lot of views. That's your barometer. Speaking of the thumbnail, the less detail, the better. As you'll see in this one here, rule of 3, we have a big block of text, the big card that is in the foreground, which is the subject of, or the recognizable item. And then in the background, there is a binder, which has to do with the storage, and it's kind of a recognizable item. And then the background is just plain, or the little graph, right? Too many people try to tell the whole story in their thumbnail, right? You don't have to tell the whole story. In fact, you shouldn't tell the whole story. You share one part of it that makes you go, wait, what happens next? Or how did that work out? Or what does that do? If you could get a person to ask themselves those questions as they are looking at your thumbnail and title, then that's good. They're going to want to click to figure it out, right? People stop to look at faces. People look to stop at action that's happening. And it doesn't have to be a frame of the video. In fact, I would recommend separately shooting images, even of your own face, if you're going to pop your own face in the video, to put on the thumbnail. Thankfully, we now have tools. This used to be a lot harder. I used to Photoshop all these things, and I used to take the pen tool and go all around the person. And Canva has a background removal tool. That's awesome. And in fact, if you have an iPhone and you're on iOS 16, I think I learned this the other day. If you hold your finger on a person in a photo, it will actually become something that you can copy and paste. Like the outline is already created for you. It blew my mind. I'm not going to go over that right now. And then design a few ideas per video. The cool thing is you'll get data right away as to how well the video is doing. And if it's not doing well right away, it's typically a thumbnail or a title issue, which is really interesting. Cool. Just looking at the verbatim. Veritasium. If you look up legit bait, you should be able to find it. So that was the click, right? That's the title and thumbnail, really important. Now let's talk about the stick. The stick, getting people to stick around, is about the hook and the retention, okay? The hook and the retention. YouTube will not push out your video to other people unless they know your videos are worth sticking around to watch for, right? Very, very important to understand. So working on your retention and your hooks in your videos is really great. And even just a few minutes of thinking about this can go a very long way when it comes to how you script your videos, or how you at least script the intro of your videos and the story that you're telling and how you keep people going through, right? And yes, people's attention spans are shorter than ever thanks to short-form video platforms. So a few things that we need to do as a result of this. Number one, no long intros. A video like this is how we used to do it, like even in the Pokemon channel, right? So I would do a challenge or something in a video to try to complete a set in a period of time, and I would start the videos like this. Hey everybody, Flynn here from Deep Pocket Monster. Welcome back to the channel. On this video, I'm going to be completing the new set, Crown Zenith, in 48 hours. I only have 3 things that I can do. I'm only going to be going to this many places, and if I don't get it, this is what's going to happen. All right, let's start the adventure now. And then it goes, and I try to keep it exciting, and there's music, and I kind of zoom in and zoom out every once in a while to create some pattern interrupts. But what I ended up doing was starting the videos instead right in the middle of the challenges. I got this inspiration from Mr. Beast, who in his videos is already doing the challenge. In the first 3 seconds, he's already being buried underground. And then the rules come out, right? In fact, one thing that we did was looking at our graphs, we realized that the most interesting parts that people like to watch in these videos was the negotiations, right? Where I'm negotiating with somebody and there's money being exchanged and I might get a Pokemon card, I might not get the Pokemon card, and we're wheeling and dealing with each other. People really love that based on the graphics, and people love that in the comments too. So we decided to experiment by starting the video in the middle of a negotiation. You don't necessarily know what the rules are or what's happening, but you're intrigued because something's gonna go down. And then after that transaction happens, then I'm already in the challenge and I'm explaining the rules as I go. That is done much, much better, right? Another thing to think about is your hooks, which we'll get into in a minute, but no branded intros, right? I think we just get right into the thing that people had clicked on for almost ASAP, right? I think that you can then maybe after the first tip, if you have a list of tips, or after the first example, that's where you can then introduce yourself, because people aren't on YouTube to look for you. You have to earn them subscribing because of what you give them first, right? You want to go onto the platform of YouTube in a giving position. I want to give exactly what a person's clicking on this video for, and I want to offer them something that then allows them to want to continue to come back, right? So think about this question when you're creating videos. What's worth a person's time to watch your video and stick to the end, right? I have a friend who has a YouTube channel about paid advertising, right? And there's like these videos that he does all the time about Facebook's new ad manager and how it like changes the look. So he has to update these things, and he creates videos like, hey, 5 new changes to Facebook's new ad platform. Here they are, right? And people watch them. He has fans. But I asked him to try this video one time, and I was like, what if you did it like this? Like, hey guys, I have $100, and I'm going to put this $100 to the test in Facebook's brand new ad platform. There are 5 changes I want to talk about. We're going to see if by the end of this video, I can turn this $100 into $200, or I might lose it all. And now there's something at stake. Now there's a reason to stick around to the end. Now there's a reason to get all 5 tips, because I'm taking people through Facebook Ad Manager platform and how I'm spending this money, where I'm spending it, which is exactly what people who use this platform do. And they want to see if there's a return, right? And so now, again, there's something at stake. There's a reason. Or it might be like, hey, guys, I have a client who just spent money with me to help them get this sales page more views. And I'm going to take you through exactly how I'm going to do that using Facebook's new ad manager. And hopefully this will convert for them at the end, because if not, I might not be their client any longer. Boom. Or they might not be my client any longer, for example, right? So that's really important. How might you frame this in a way that gets people to stick around and watch? Now, retention. The number one thing you need to look at when you create videos, if you already have videos, great, you already have this data, is your retention graphs, right? Your retention graphs are graphs. If you go to engagement under each video, you'll scroll down, you'll see a line graph that looks kind of like this. This is a bad example of retention. This is in the first parts of our first year of Deep Pocket Monster, when we're still trying to figure things out, right? Big drop off in the beginning, and then a lot of other cliffs that make people leave. And then understanding what's happening in these videos is really important. Go back to those cliff dives in your retention graphs in those videos and figure out, why did people leave? What did I say? What did I do? Why are people leaving? And the opposite's true. If there's spikes, if there's things that are holding people for a long time, figure out what you did there and do more of that, right? So here's a great example. This is from a recent video. Look at the difference in how flat those graphs are, right? One even has a spike in the middle because something else happened. but this is what we want to shoot for. We want to shoot for flat line graphs in your retention graphs, right? And look at the end as well on both videos. We've learned at the end to not almost tell our audience that the video's ending, right? If we have 5 things that we're sharing, for example, in a video, I don't say, okay, guys, and finally, the last tip I have for you in this video is this. We don't say that anymore. Get right into number 5 and then finish number 5 and go, hey, and if you like that tip, check out these videos over here. And then you can use an end screen card to push them into another video. If you can get people to go from one of your videos to another one of your videos, I mean, that's only going to amplify the reach for that video. So we don't even let people know that our videos are ending. We don't end abruptly and not sort of, offer what we promised, right? We offer what we offered, but then we go, okay, move on to the next thing, right? So you'll see in this graph, like there's literally no time for people to leave at the end of this video. Cool. So how to increase retention? Stories. I cannot stress enough how well a story goes. And there was a question earlier from somebody who was like, hey, Pat, how can I do a story with like a remodel channel or something like that? I think that was somebody who had asked that. Very simply. I mean, there's a channel about these guys who go out and tow trucks, right? They're a tow truck company. I can't remember the name, but they're a tow truck company that goes out and they just film the adventure of going out and repairing somebody or getting somebody stuff who's stuck somewhere out in the middle of nowhere. But then they create a story around it, right? They could have just easily filmed the pickup and how to do that. But when you find out like where this person was going and what happened and how much it's going to cost and how they're going to help them out and all this kind of stuff, it really adds a lot of value. Now, even if you are an educational channel that you're teaching something, you could still wrap story in and around it. There's a couple other things that we can do that are also shared here where you can, I think number 5 here were different locations. If you have 5 tips, make every tip a different location. That in and of itself will change things up. If you're just watching my talking head the whole time and I have 5 tips and I'm just sitting here the whole time, it's going to become repetitive, even if I'm saying different things, even if I'm being helpful. We need to change things up a little bit. And so that's a simple thing that you can take home with you. If you have a series of videos where you are talking about 10 tips or 5 tips or what have you, make each of those things different. Put yourself in a different location. Maybe you're at the park. Maybe you're indoors. Maybe one you're petting a dog and the dog's like kind of just getting into the camera. Now people are getting to know you a little bit more, right? B-roll is really great. B-roll is footage. Like if if I'm doing a microphone review, for example, one of my favorite tips is to take my phone and I'm gonna if I'm doing a microphone review and I'm talking about this microphone, right? I'm gonna film separately on my phone a slow-mo sort of just pan around of this microphone. And then as I'm talking about the microphone and all the specs that are usually boring to somebody, I will throw in that slow-mo footage. And what happens is the slow-mo footage will come on the screen. I'm still talking about all those boring things that some people may want, but now there's something visual to look at that interrupts it, and then it comes back to me here in this position, right? So slow-mo videos that you can take. I don't often use slow-mo. The only thing I use slow-mo for is when my kid wants to jump off the couch and see a video of themselves, or I'm doing B-roll footage for products. It's such a fun way to do it. Text on the screen could be really great, right? When you have text pop up on the screen, it interrupts the pattern. It emphasizes the points that you're making. You don't have to have every word, but have your most important words shown, especially if you have a punchline or you have something really important to say. Quick transitions between parts. As you can see, even just me transitioning this way, right? With I'm using a Stream Deck to push buttons to be able to flip between my computer and this camera position here. It adds a lot of level of professionalism without being very too difficult. And when you're editing these videos, just again, changing locations and maybe a quick zoom in, a quick zoom out, a slow zoom in, and a quick zoom out. Watch other videos and see how they keep your attention. And again, read your analytics and see what's working and what's not. Cool. Let's talk about monetization. Monetization happens in a few different ways. Number one, the most popular way is by ads showing up with your videos. YouTube ads, or YouTube's partnership program, it unlocks after you get to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time within a year. I know that sounds like a lot, but 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time is actually not a lot when you consider that it just might take one video to go wild on YouTube. And that's what the fun thing I love about YouTube that's not available on podcasting. There's a very rare chance that a podcast I publish will go viral. But there is a very strong possibility, or at least a much stronger possibility, that a video that you create on YouTube can go wide and ride those YouTube algorithm waves and get in front of a lot of people for you, which is really cool. So 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time. That will then unlock the ability for you to join the YouTube Partnership Program, which will then put ads on your videos, sometimes pre-roll, sometimes post-roll. If your video is over 8 minutes long, you can add a mid-roll in there as well. That means in the middle of your video. And over time, you could generate some income. This is how much income the Pat Flynn channel has made since its start in 2009, just on ads alone. And I can already tell you that the Pokemon channel has surpassed this, in fact, which is wild. But there is some money to be made there through the YouTube ads program, which was awesome. But that's not to say that you have to wait to 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time to generate a revenue. You can generate revenue through brand deals. This was through a video I did a while back where I partnered with a company called TCG Stadium. They're sponsored. They're now, we just landed a bigger contract and deal with them, which is really amazing. But this is where a company will pay you a flat fee often to get in front of your audience and be a part of your video, whether it's mentioned in the beginning or maybe you are reviewing their product or maybe they're just a quick 30-second to 60-second sort of ad read that you have in the middle of it. Brand deals are something that you can get. And no, you don't need millions of subscribers and millions of views in order to get it. It can help, obviously. But if you have a loyal audience, I think a lot of brands are getting much smarter, understanding that YouTubers and podcasters especially have a very loyal audience, one who will listen to almost every word they say, in fact, that it's worth getting in front of their audience even if it's a little bit smaller. So potentially connect with brands that you already have a relationship with. Connect with brands that you already use. Film a video about that brand first, and then use that opportunity to start a relationship with them and perhaps get a stronger deal later, which can be really cool. Now, my favorite way to generate revenue through a YouTube video is through affiliate marketing. So affiliate marketing is where you can generate an income by recommending other products, right? You sign up for their affiliate program, sometimes known as a referral program or a partner program, and that will then allow them to pay you every time you bring a customer in, right? It's different from a brand sponsorship deal, which is they pay you a certain amount to hopefully get a bunch of views coming their way, and it's more brand recognition and awareness, versus this, they will only have to pay you if you bring customers in, and then you get a rev share or like a commission on top of that. This was the video I did for Descript. Descript is a really amazing editor tool for podcasters and video people who they also have this amazing tool inside of it called, what is it called? Overdub. And with Overdub, you can upload your voice and then type out things and it will say it in your voice. It's a little scary, right? So check out my thumbnail. It copied my voice, and it's me looking surprised with a title of "This audio editing tool deep faked my voice." This video has over 1 million views within 9 months because of how strong the title and thumbnail were, right? And, of course, you'll see that affiliate link inside the description there, patflynn.com/descript. And this particular video, this one video, has generated in affiliate revenue, my take-home is $34,274 over time, right? So month over month, I'm now getting passive income as a result of this video by just showing a tool and how it was used and creating a really good title and thumbnail. And if you watch that video, you'll see how I hook people in. I start the video not by saying, hey guys, there's this really cool tool out there that lets you do this. What do? I literally just show the tool being used. That's how I started that video, right? So yeah, that worked really, really well. So I want to ask you here in the chat, because we covered a lot of things really fast. This replay will be available. I know we're just skimming the surface with a lot of this, but what was the most helpful thing that you learned today? Let me know in the chat, because I want to see what resonated with you. Hopefully the click and stick strategy makes sense. I try to create that in a way that was very memorable, right? The click, the title and thumbnail, starting with the title first. I know it's very different for a lot of us, but that can then determine how you start the video, how you film the video, what gets included in that video, right? There was another video I did where it was going to be about what to do with your extra energy cards. Energy cards come in every pack. And I was like, well, that's not really an interesting video. I wouldn't click on that. But we ended up creating a little challenge that my son and I did together around that. And what I was going to do with those energy cards still made their way into the video, but it became a totally different video. It was called like Impossible Trick Shot with Pokemon Cards. And that video was our most successful video. It's seen, I think, 2.4 million views. It was the fastest to ever get to 2 million views, which was wild. And it had, again, started with the seed idea of those energy cards. But it became an entirely new challenge, and it's become now a bucket of videos, a playlist of videos where it's a challenge between my son and I now as we're trying to beat each other, which is really cool. So kill the intro, finding a title, better stories. Who am I creating for? And use stories. Stories, absolutely. I will again have... title changes the plan of the video, says Dawn. Awesome. Starting with the title first. Yeah. Try that and that alone. It should probably revolutionize your creation process, right? And you might struggle a little bit. I'm just going to let you know. You might struggle a little bit with that, especially if you have a seed idea and you're just like, how do I make a title that's worth watching related to this? Bad ideas are good. Come up with a bunch of ideas. Most of them are going to be bad. There's going to be one or two out there that you go, whoa, that would be actually kind of interesting. That would be cool. I ran this exercise with a friend of mine the other day, and like an idea just came out from the brainstorming process that he's super fired up about that I know will do well if he nails the title and the thumbnail, right? Slow-mo around product, nice. Retention, starting with the title, excellent. Very cool. Now, I would love for you to go deeper with this stuff with us. We have specific training. We have specific things that can help you around this topic, right? So YouTube is a huge opportunity. It's an opportunity for all of us. There was a slide earlier that was like, hey, could I ask permission to move forward with this? But I've already seen a few people ask, and it was a resounding yes the last time we did this presentation. So I'm just going to move forward with this. YouTube is an awesome opportunity. It can be very overwhelming, and I know that there's a lot of courses out there already about it. We're not the first to do it, right? I'm not the first person to create a YouTube course, but I think that's to my advantage because here's the thing. I know what works now, and I don't need to include everything else in there. A lot of courses have all the things you need to know about YouTube. I don't have that. I have just what you need to know, right? So this is exactly why we created this course in this way. This is our newest online course right now. It's called YouTube from Scratch. My videographer and I partnered and tag team on this course together for you, and it's now available inside of SPI's All Access Pass, which I'll tell you about in just a second. But this is a really, really neat and different opportunity because we would sell these courses one-off, but now you have a chance to get access to all of them in a way that's going to help you progress through them much better. So our goal with this course, YouTube from Scratch, is to help you remove the confusion, simplify the plan, and get you to 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, or double the amount of growth that you already have on your channel right now, and hopefully do it a little bit better. I mean, most of our students are doing way better than that. So before, you could get access to the entire course for YouTube from Scratch for $4.99. Most of our courses were that price. But like I said earlier, it is now a part of what we call our All Access Pass. Our All Access Pass is something we launched last year to solve the problem of how do we get people to get more value and how do we lower the barrier to entry to this stuff. So with our All Access Pass, you get access to all of our online courses and workshops, more than a dozen. You get access to a community because you are more likely to succeed. Studies show that 60% of you are more likely, or you're 60% more likely to finish something if you're doing it with other people. So we have a community of people going through these courses together. You have access to my team. Ashley is here literally in the chat right now. Guided pathways through our various courses so you don't get overwhelmed, right? It would be one thing to just go, hey guys, here's all of our courses, go. That would actually be counter to what we're trying to do. We want you to have access to all of them, but go through them in a specific order that's right and personalized for you. And we have our very popular accelerators, which is throughout the year, we have some of our courses run through together with other people, with a guide, with a coach, and questions and office hours, and people are going through it together, which is amazing. Here is what it looks like inside of the All Access Pass. You can see some of the courses that you have available to you. 123 affiliate marketing, A to Z webinars, amped up podcasting, email marketing magic, heroic online courses, power up podcasting, smart from scratch. All, as you can see here, are individually on sale for $4.99 or more. But here's the thing. What would you think the price of the All Access Pass would be? Knowing that the individual courses are worth hundreds of dollars. And like I said, we wanted to lower the barrier to entry. So this is why, when you break it down, it's only $59 a month. So you can get access to YouTube from scratch right now and start running yourself through that course and get handheld through the course material. And if you go to YouTube from scratch's page here, smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. Yo, Kobe, thank you for gifting memberships. That's awesome, man. You don't have to do that. If you go to smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS, you'll see that you could still get the YouTube from scratch at a one-time price of $4.99, but you'll see it at the quarterly build price, $179 per quarter or $59 per month. But you can't get monthly. It's just quarterly or annual. You could save a little bit more. Again, if you go to smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. So, appreciate you for watching. I'm here to answer questions for the next 5-10 minutes for you. There are some people who are in the All Access Pass watching this. You obviously already have access to all the courses, including YouTube from scratch. I would encourage you to just start that program right now if you aren't already in the middle of another one right now. But it has been probably one of the courses that we've created that has seen the quickest results from people, right? We've had Power Up Podcasting for a very long time. People have quit their jobs and have went all in on podcasting, but that can take quite a while to see results from. With YouTube from scratch, it's one of those things that if you nail the title and thumbnail and the storytelling and you know who you're creating videos for, you can start to see results rather quickly. And a lot of people who've already had YouTube channels up and running have gone through this course and have seen changes almost overnight. I think Junaid was somebody who is in our SPI Pro community who had, not Junaid, who was at Kenzo. He is an artist who started to see 3 times the amount of views on his videos as a result of just the thumbnail lessons alone, which is pretty cool. So, love the SPI All Access Passes Tech Stack Mastery. So yeah, right here is the link to go to smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. And what's cool about this lower price point compared to the one-time payment is you get to see all the things that are offered, and it almost becomes almost like a way to try it out, right? And what often happens is people will try it out and they'll go, there's so much in here that I can benefit from. And again, I don't want you to go through all the courses all at once. You need to go through the different pathways. There's an income booster pathway. If you already have a business up and running, you need to generate more revenue. Go through those courses that are in the income booster pathway. If you want to start a podcast, go to the podcasting pathway, which kicks you off with Power Up Podcasting to start to get your podcast up and running. Amped Up Podcasting, which is next, which is a $999 course already included in there as well, to then automate things to get more time back to start, turning your podcast into a business. And then perhaps your video podcasting playbook or your advertising and sponsorships workshop, all those things are in there. When does this offer end? I would recommend getting into it right now. The offer is always going to be there. However, there are workshops. I am hosting a workshop today inside of the All Access Pass, for example, about AI and using AI to help you generate your sales copy and sales emails. That's happening today. There's workshops happening all the time, and there are accelerators happening. There's an accelerator that's starting very soon for those of you who also want to start online courses through our Heroic Online Courses program, and Ashley will be there helping to lead that as well. So again, there's no cutoff time. We don't want to create false scarcity and try to trick you into buying now only to open it up right again later. I think it's important to be authentic and honest, but I think that it's also important to share that the opportunity's there right now, and you should take it. So again, smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS. Will this work for your podcast YouTube channel? Absolutely. In fact, podcasting is something that on the world of YouTube is becoming more integrated. You'll see that you can actually create a podcasting playlist to put and host your video podcast as well. Now, I'm going to answer a question that a lot of people have been asking about the world of podcasting and YouTube together. Do I create a separate channel for my podcast? Do I create a podcast playlist now that I could do that on my current channel? What should I do, Pat? The answer is, and I got this straight from YouTube, this is one of the benefits of getting into this program as well, is I have direct lines of communication literally with the guy who manages the algorithm. It's through a Discord that I'm in with people like Mr. Beast and other bigger names. I'm such a small fish in that pond, but I'm grateful to be in there, and I can pass on a lot of the learnings to you. Same channel, or same audience, same channel. That's the answer. So if your podcast for your YouTube channel is for the same audience, then keep it the same channel, right? Same thing with shorts, all under the same channel. If it's a different audience or a different subsegment of your audience, then you'd want it to be a separate channel, right? I already have Jasper. Is that enough? Everybody's talking about ChatGPT now. Yeah, Jasper can work, but ChatGPT is a little bit more flexible. And if you are in the workshop today, you'll see a little bit more about how I use that for training it and to also then get back emails and headlines and sales copy and all that kind of stuff. Do I get a community of fellow students in the All Access Pass? Absolutely, Sal. You do. What is your lens you use for your webcam? So right now I'm using a Canon EOS R, which is a sort of digital camera, right? Mirrorless cam. And the lens that I'm using on it is a wide angle 1.4f aperture. I think it's a 50 millimeter 1.4f wide angle lens. And that allows me to get a lot in view here, but it also provides this nice bokeh effect, which is the blurriness. Speaking of editing videos and filming videos, thank you for this setup. Inside of the course, Caleb, my videographer, has an entire lesson on how to film and how to film yourself, how to film your screen, how to film other things, how to essentially just a library that you can go to understand how to film certain things. And there's also lessons on exactly how to edit. I know editing is going to be something that a lot of you may struggle with. It's often where most people struggle, which is totally fine, which is why we have lessons on how to do that easy as well. Caesar has a question, and then I'll get to Tech Stack Mastery, sorry. Actually, text us first. How important is it to just focus on one channel versus omnipresence? So I think one channel having your focus has a lot better chance of succeeding than having a bunch of channels around a bunch of different things. I know it can be hard to stick to just one channel because we are curious, we're entrepreneurs, we want to try a whole bunch of things, and in many cases, the throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks approach works. But I think that if you focus on a particular audience and then you have that throw spaghetti approach to them, you're going to be able to advance much quicker, right? Because you know who the same audience is for. You'll be a little bit more guided, and you'll sooner be able to see where there's some life, right? What videos are popping, which ones seem to have a little bit more interest, and you can lean into those and lean out of the others, which is what we've done on the Pokemon channel that has done really well. We currently have 607,000 subscribers only after 2 years and 4 months, which is really amazing. And it's because there's a lot of experimentation for the audience that we learned all about, but pulling back on videos that didn't do well and pushing forward and leaning into videos that did. Caesar says, I have a channel that has no real purpose, but I have a video with 1.6 million views. It's me clucking like a chicken. I really don't want to do that forever. Should I start a new channel or use this one? So there are a lot of cases where a random video you create will go wild. And what ends up happening is it'll attract all kinds of people for that video that may not be interested in your other videos. So if it truly is something that is not necessarily something you want to continue to do or isn't even related to the thing that you want to do, I would start a brand new channel. Or you can, what you may end up doing is, I wouldn't delete that video, but I know a lot of people who have unlisted those kinds of videos to help YouTube understand who is the ideal person we want to get in front of. That's the one thing that over time, after you start to learn about your audience, YouTube will begin to learn about you and your videos and who that audience is, and it'll continue to find other people like them. So, Caesar, I think that it would be the best practice to start a new channel from there. Val says, unfortunately, I missed 90% of the program today. There is a replay. It'll be available as soon as this thing ends. The replay will be available here on YouTube, which is one of the benefits of doing it on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Consult the Blind Guy says, bunch of them is hard. I have 4 channels. Trust me, it's difficult to manage 4 channels and social media. Thank you for sharing your honest feedback on that. Are the video editing courses self-paced? Yes, self-paced. Do you remove videos if they don't fly? No, I keep the videos up on there, and I think that that's important because there will be some people who watch them. And the truth is, many videos may not take off right away. In fact, most of our videos start to do well after the 3 to 4 week mark. That's when they start to kind of catch a wave, or YouTube begins to finally find those audiences that would benefit from that video. And then I've had videos that have been up for a year that randomly out of nowhere, I don't know if because another creator created a video and then my video gets recommended there, or because it just becomes a hot topic in society and all of a sudden my video starts to rank really high. That happens sometimes. So no, I would not delete a video. Pokey TB, thank you so much for that. Irish Pokey Hat, welcome in. Should your thumbnails be all different or have same type of branding? So I think it's important that once you land on a thumbnail type that works, it's okay to use that similar styling. I wouldn't use the same exact face. I wouldn't use the exact same thumbnail. But if I were to show you my channel, or if you go to the Deep Pocket Monster YouTube channel, you'll eventually see that there are a lot of the videos that are similar, that have similar thumbnails. Like my set completion videos always have me with a surprise face holding a binder with a question mark in the middle of the binder. My Etsy videos always show me buying something weird or random, and it's me holding up one of those objects, and that works. And you'll see that if you just look at all the Etsy videos that I have on my Pokemon channel, they all look pretty similar with thumbnail, but they worked. They are proven to work, so why change it? You want to change it up a little bit so it's not exactly the same, but making them the same style makes sense. Any recommendations for learning video and editing? Yes, the YouTube from Scratch course inside of the All Access Pass. How to vids. Is having how-to channel about products not niche enough? I had to delete all my videos from my channel, and I have not deleted the channel only because I have 192 followers now. You know, a general how-to channel is hard. I think there needs to be some sort of angle to it so a person can know it's for them. For example, that Dad How Do I channel, it is a sort of how-to channel, but it's specifically around this dad and almost like being your dad in helping you train you with all these other things that happen around the house during the pandemic, right? Like that's where that channel really took off, and with the branding and the style of it. And the videos all start with like, Dad, how do I blank? And it's boom, he gets right into it, right? So there has to be something niche. It may not be in the videos, but it's who it's for, or the type of audience that you're targeting needs to be targeted, right? That's where then these more multifaceted type of channels can work, as long as there's some connection there. Because if they're about all things and everything, it's going to be very difficult for A, the audience, but B, the algorithm to understand who these videos are for. Should you batch your first 5 videos before starting? James, I would batch a couple and have them edited and ready, but I would, as soon as the video is ready, publish it sort of in the morning on a weekday and see what happens. It would behoove you to do that so that you can start collecting data, so that YouTube can start understanding more about your channel and who it's for, and then your later videos can then be served to them in the right way. As an entrepreneur, is your YouTube income an LLC? I understand what you mean by the question. Your YouTube income, if you are, it depends. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. If you're a sole proprietor, then you'd have to take them as personal income. If you're an LLC, it would pass through as normal income, but it would still come in through your business. I think you'd want to make sure all your books and everything is in alignment. So it really depends. I would consult a tax consultant or a bookkeeper for you as well. MC King, yo, thank you so much. I noticed you offer very simple member perks for Gem Mint Club compared to other channels. What's your secret to attracting so many members? So I do go live on my Gem Mint Club or in my Pokemon YouTube channel. We have a membership called the Gem Mint Club. And the idea was just, let's keep it simple so that the users just aren't confused. And so there's just one $2.99 per month deal, and that's it. And that was also so that there would be less work on my end to worry about. It's just one thing, and that's the only thing I have to worry about, and making sure all those people's experiences are great. And the other thing is just, create experiences on your channel. Tell a good story, help people feel like they're a part of something, and they're going to be more likely to support you. And that's where a lot of the sort of Patreon-like support can come from with that kind of stuff. All right, a couple more questions here. Tech Stack Mastery question. Channel called Trauma Healing Made Easier. I have a course that I have no time to promote. I was thinking of putting the course on YouTube and offering a monthly fee group so that people could get help. That's one way to do it. You could take 1 or 2 of your lessons, put them on YouTube, make sure they have a good title and a thumbnail, and they hook people in right away. That way you can get a sense of how people and YouTube reacts to it, and perhaps you might even use that as sort of a Costco-sized sample before they want to go get the bigger thing, before you all go into sort of more the consultant route, because that does require a little bit more time. So there might be ways to use YouTube, in fact, to share bits and pieces about your course so that people can then dive deeper into the main thing. Question, when does the next cohort for YouTube from students start under AAP? There isn't a cohort planned yet because we often will go into the community and ask which accelerators and workshops they want. So if you're part of the community, you'll definitely have a voice for that, but you can definitely start at any time, and there's already students going through it right now as well. But it's always going to be based on the community, and I would imagine that we will have another one in the future, right, Ashley? Just we don't know when right now. Thanks, MC. All right, we'll take one more question. Besides the income, which one of your channels is your baby, pride, and joy? I mean, Deep Pocket Monster has become the new baby, right? It's like the young one that's getting all the attention right now. But at the same time, I've built systems and have had things in place so that the other parts of my business and the other parts of my life are, in fact, also taken care of. SPI has an amazing team. You see some of those team members here right now. The Switch Pod, which is an invention that my videographer and I had, is still running and running really well. So yeah. Hope you're well. Who's the best streamer to learn how to use Streamlab? Honestly, there's some really good YouTube tutorials on how to use Streamlab. I don't know the names of those streamers, but there's one person, Luria, Luria. If you look up Luria live streaming, you'll find her channel. Her last name starts with a P. I always mispronounce it, but she'll be able to guide you, and she has a lot of videos on that kind of stuff as well. What is your opinion on starting time for videos lives? Best time for you and most of your availability. So this is the last question I'll end on, and then again, make sure to head up YouTube from scratch, get in. This is a great opportunity right now to get in. It's the best thing we've ever created. I'm not even gonna lie. So as far as publishing times, it's important to know when your audience is on. YouTube over time will tell you when your audience is on. If you go into the audience tab inside of your analytics, you'll actually see a graph that tells you what days of the week and when during those days people are coming on. So for us on the Pokemon channel, Saturday at 8 a.m. Pacific is like when it's dark purple. Like that's when most of our subscribers are on. So we publish about an hour before that, or we try to publish like an hour before that. So that way, as people are coming on to YouTube, they're now seeing our video recommended up at the top. Over time, it doesn't really matter, but to get that velocity off the get-go and then collect information so you can make changes on the fly if you need to is really good. TechStack says, this hour and 10 minutes has been more valuable than previous masterminds I've done at $100 a month. That is amazing. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. And hopefully you did get value here. If you want more value, this is the link to go to right now, smartpassiveincome.com/YouTube from scratch. This has been great. Second time running this presentation in the last couple months. This Encore presentation was because that first one did so well and a lot of you were asking for it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. I appreciate you for coming in, especially on a Monday. And again, we'll send you an email with the replay if you are on our list or if you signed in and registered for it. Make sure smartpassiveincome.com/YTFS to get in now. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you, and looking forward to seeing y'all soon. Peace out, everybody. Thank you again.